Good morning, y'all. I'm Carol with Free Spirit Arts. It's kind of an ominous day today for many reasons. I woke up this morning. I didn't sleep well. And hadn't even finished my first cup of coffee when I began to come out of the cloud of sleep. I realized that the news was talking about another mass shooting. My God. In Minnesota. I don't know the details. I heard him talking about a church, and also heard him talking about a school. And the saddest part for me is how numb I've become. I can remember when one of the very first shootings happened, and it was like the whole town was silent, and I just sat and cried and watched the news and tried to find out what the hell happened. It was such a shock. It was counter to what anybody would be able to absorb. It was traumatic. And friends, family, that's what we talked about for weeks. There was interviews with the family and interviews with attorneys and counselors, and our local schools offered bereavement counseling and critical incident debriefing and all that stuff. And today I watched just a blip of the news, and I kind of went on with my morning, discouraged and mad and frustrated, confused. What the hell? These are our people. This isn't some foreign country that sneaks in and walks into a school and shoots up. These are American people. People we raise, our neighbors, people we go to church with, people we go to college with. We own this. I don't know what the body count is. Couple thousand last I heard. And what? And what are we doing? I read a statistic last year that the majority of shooters, they actually have a title. There's a club called the Shooters. They don't own the guns that they use to slaughter all these innocent people. Some do, but most don't. And you know, I know how easy it is for a kid to get a hold of a gun. Here in Idaho, you know, there's a gun in every household just about, and some of them ride around with their rifles in the rifle rack of their pickup. When my kids were little, we put our rifles and guns, rifle under the bed, guns on the top shelf in the closet. Oh, that'll do something. It didn't. No. Or, oh, my kids have been around guns all their lives. They know. No, they don't. No, they don't. Their brains are not fully developed. They don't understand long-term consequences. They have no idea about what a gun will do. I don't care if they've taken hunter safety. They don't have a clue. And they don't have control of their emotions. We've got to lock up our guns. You want to have a gun, fine. You think you need it, go for it. But they have to be under lock and key, not in the master bedroom closet. Not in the glove compartment of your car, unless it's locked. Kids are smart. They know. Not just kids. Your spouse, your nephew, your neighbor. I remember back mid-70s, early 80s, when you bought homeowners insurance, your insurance agent made an appointment with you and came out to the house. Do y'all remember that? That was a thing. They had to come out, they looked at your furnace, they looked at your fireplace to make sure you had triple wall pipe and how far above the roof it was, and they looked for water damage and sheetrock, and they went downstairs and checked out your cellar or basement, and they did all that thing before they would insure your home. That was a thing. They didn't inspect where your guns were, because back then, any kind of gun regulations just wasn't a thing. It wasn't a topic. We didn't talk about that. Everybody went hunting. Yeah, your gun's right there over the mantle, and yeah, that's what I killed that deer with, or whatever. Nobody cared. And I wonder, when are the insurance companies going to get tired of paying out all these lawsuits and paying out all the liability? When are they going to start inspecting people's gun safes? And asking people, what do you have firearms? What do you do with them? And Lord, don't even tell me about it's a constitutional right. Oh, bullshit. The president we have right now hasn't followed any of the Constitution so far, and nobody's said anything, so don't even, I mean, what Constitution? Locked doors only keep honest people out. That's what my mom used to say. We never locked our doors as a kid. I don't ever remember my mom locking a door. I never had a key, because I don't even know if my mom had a key. We didn't lock the doors. Anybody could have come in. But they didn't. And I want to say I don't know why this is happening, but I do have a theory. Now, it's a norm. It is mental health related. Somebody doesn't go into a business, a church, a school, a mall, whatever. You don't do that if you're stable. You just don't. People do that when they've got nothing to lose. When they've had all they're willing to take, and they're willing to go out with a bang. Why? I think there's a multitude of reasons. But I think right now, the culture that we're living in, that's a coping strategy. I'll show you. I'll go out in a ball of fire. I'll pay you back. I will be listened to. It is mental health. And unfortunately, it is a norm now. It's not a norm in any other country. Partly because in some countries, firearms are not allowed. Residential firearms. They're just forbidden. And in other countries, they treat mental health. And they don't have the culture that we do. We can change this. There's so many things we can do. We can have firearm detection in our schools. It would take more time for the kids to come in the morning. You bet. Okay. So? You can't bring a gun into a courthouse. Not here anyway. They have a double door system. They have a conveyor belt when you walk in that's connected right to the door. You can't go around it. You have to go through at least 4 policemen, not just security guards. These are firearm packing people with a badge, and you have to go through them. They go through your purse and everything. We could do that. That could happen at the mall. That could happen in church. I was talking actually to a family member 5 years ago. And he said in his church here in town that the pastor at the podium has a Bible that he gives his sermon from, and then he has another fake Bible that's hollowed out and it has his gun in it. I don't know if that's wrong. I don't know. That's not really the point. The point is, there's a real possibility that he may have to use it. On my Facebook feed yesterday, there's a group in here that's called Life in Pocatello, and it's all about our town and what's going on, and you know, where you can get good Mexican food, or you know, whatever. And a gal posted a video that she had just taken. She parked on a public street, and some guy came out of the he didn't come out onto his porch. He opened his door, and through the screen that was torn off, he was yelling obscenities at her. This was a woman of color, and he was calling her racial slurs, telling her to move her car, telling her she wasn't welcome, yelling at her. She finally got her phone out and started to video because she was afraid. He told her, "I've got guns and I'm not afraid to use them." She started videoing, and in the video he says, "You are living in a Republican white state." Holy Hannah. No, she isn't. He doesn't represent me. Now, why would you talk to somebody like that? Well, because you feel like you have support. You feel like you have support from your current president. You feel like you have support from the city. And you feel like your state supports it. Our state voted for Trump. And I'm embarrassed, horrified. We've got to change this. I know our current president is the worst representation of humanity that I have ever witnessed. But that isn't the worst part. The worst part is people still follow him. Not a lot. He's lost a lot of followers. They are waking up, and I'm proud of them. I've had a lot of people say, you know, I didn't realize that he would actually do this kind of stuff. So I do think change is on the horizon, but this school shooting is just representative of how insensitive we've allowed our culture to become. And we all have a voice, and we can all speak up, and it's got to happen. We have to speak up to other family members. We have to talk about this with our neighbors, with the people we work with our church, our fellowship. That's the only way it's going to change. That's always the way things change. And the people who voted for Trump have to be welcomed back with grace. Come on back. I completely understand why he got elected the first time. It's a little harder to grasp the second time, but I get it. I get it. He was mad like we're mad. He's powerful, at least seemed that way. And he talked a good game. I get it. But really, there's no excuse now, you know? And I think that's why a lot of people are waking up. But it's not just him. There were shootings before him. But we have to get on our city councils. We have to get on our school boards. We have to be able to invest the money in security systems and some type of legislature for gun control. Keep your guns. I don't care how many guns you have. I don't think there's absolutely any reason for anybody to have an AR. But whatever, you know, that's another topic for Congress, if we ever get a Congress or Senate that is willing to deal with hard things. But we can do a lot of things locally. There's no way I'd send my kid to school right now if I was raising school-age children. Nope. You can't pat him on the head and give him that new backpack and say, it's going to be okay, don't worry. You can't do that. Not now. We got it. The generation that's able to make big decisions now needs to run. They need to put themselves in a position where they have the power to regulate, change, implement, organize. That's got to happen. People are always frustrated. There's always going to be people that are struggling emotionally or have chronic mental health issues, and they're going to behave badly. But it's never been like this. And something's got to be done. We have to protect our public. We have to protect each other. mean, we have tanks, and United States military walking down residential streets, fully loaded. People are in their homes videoing out the window. What's going on? That's not freedom. Things got to change. We've got to change. My generation is, we're on the downhill side. It's up to our kids to decide what kind of country they want to live in. This is not sustainable. I'm not going to apologize for this video or my point of view. That's how change happens. You organize, you vote, you campaign, and it starts local. It starts right where you are. You vote. You go to the city council meetings, you argue your point, and you vote. Your vote matters, and it doesn't matter whether you're in a blue state or red state. They count those votes. They know which topics the public wants to see change in. They learn about the issues and they adapt because they want their paycheck and they want power. So they conform to what the masses are telling them that they want. Your vote is probably the most powerful thing. Secondly, your voice. Go to those protests. Go to the city council meetings. Organize at your public library. While we still have a public library. Call your congressman. Call your senators. Talk to your mayor. Write letters. Get 2 or 3 people together once a month and write letters. Mail them out. There's a lot we can do. I'm doing what I can. This can change. It can change. But it's not just going to change on its own. Bless those people in Minnesota. I will watch and find out exactly what happened. And I'm sure it's not going to be unlike many other stories. I understand the shooter is dead. Okay. There's 1,000 more right behind him. Senseless loss of life. We really do need to take care of each other. Bye, y'all.